What's up, everybody? How's it going? Austin Practical, Practical Elevate Performance, coming at you live. It's Monday, start of the week. Hope everybody's Monday is going well. Hope you guys is, week's off to a good start. Mine sure as hell is, for the most part. Um, and so, basically, if you saw the title of this video, just kind of gonna talk a little bit about going over, you know, what do you do whenever life throws obstacles at you? Um, just because inevitably it's gonna happen. Like it's always gonna happen. It's one of the biggest things when people tell me, like, I just got to get done dealing with this one thing, and then I'll start. I just got to get done with this one, just gotta, get my car fixed, and then I'm gonna, start. Just gotta, wait till my kids are back in school, and then I'm gonna start. I'm just gonna wait till New Year's because it's just around the corner. It's 4, 5 months away. And then I'll start because that's when everybody starts. And New Year, new me. But like life, with life, inherently there's always shit going on. There's always new obstacles that are gonna form. When one disappears or you take care of it, there's always new stuff that's going to pop up that is going to need attention or time, or is going to make it kind of a little bit of a pain in the butt to get started, or continue with your fitness journey. And so for me personally, let's just talk a little bit about what we got going on right now. For me, it's Monday. I'm starting a new mentorship program this week that I am a part of. It's going to be super intense, super awesome. Really looking forward to it. And so I'm trying to be at my best self in terms of just having my shit together, in terms of, making sure that I'm in the right headspace, making sure that I'm doing my due diligence to make sure that I'm, being as responsible as possible to make sure that I'm ready for it. And, along with that, taking care of my clients, taking care of everything like, that comes along with being, a business owner. Today at around 10 a.m., about maybe 2 hours after we took our kid to school, we get an email saying that the daycare is going to be closed for the next 72 hours because there was a kid at the daycare that they had a case of COVID basically, and so they had to shut down the daycare. So obviously that is not ideal. That is not ideal in any sense of the word for me, especially with everything that's going on right now and everything that I got going on right now. And so that is an obstacle for me, obviously. What am I going to do? What do you do when that happens? Like, do you just roll over and give up and say, well, it's not my week, just going to start and try again next week and just, miss out on all that time between now and then that you could actually start or at least make progress and work towards your goal that you had set for yourself. And this applies to your fitness journey. Everybody has stuff that happens like that. Like your kids get sick and you can't, go to the gym because of that, or, your gym, especially with quarantine, I think, everybody's getting kind of used to, obstacles popping up and new challenges and things like that. And you'll notice, some people are rolling over and just accepting it for what and fully accepting it for what it is and just giving up on their goals and they're not trying. And then you have other people who see it as a challenge to conquer and to solve, because that's just what an obstacle is. It's just it's either like a mental or like a physical manifestation of something that is in your way of getting. You're at point A right now and you want to get to point B, and it's between between point A and point B. And so you have to figure out, because point A to point B doesn't work anymore because there's something in the way. You either got to figure out how to remove it or work around it and figure out like a path C or D or E or whatever to make sure that you get your goal, or to make sure that you can, work towards your goal properly and make it happen. For me, my obstacle right now is, my kid can't go to daycare. Guess who's daycare now? Me. To some extent. And so it's one of those things where it's like, how am I going to manage that, and still, maintain my business and still maintain everything that I got going on, and, honestly, a lot of it's just going to come down to being adaptive. It's, comes down to being adaptive and being, you know, malleable enough to, make it work. And, a lot of that's going to come down to me, you know, like I said, being adaptable and switching my schedule up a little bit. And like, and so I'm going to kind of walk you guys through what I personally plan on doing during that time, during like the next couple of days that I'm going to switch around because, it's one of those things like, and for me, and another thing too is, like preparing for those things, giving yourself like enough, like, I don't know, like of a safe, not a safety net, but like enough of like planning ahead and like foresight to, make sure that you're like okay if something like that happens. And so, for me, and for, my family lately, one of our dogs right now, not doing super well. We don't know exactly what's going on. And so that's one of those things that is just like, an obstacle that's probably, going to, arise either, in the form of having to spend more time taking care of her to make sure that, she's getting her medicine so she can recover, or, expecting the worst. And, it's like, who knows? She might die. And, we don't know that. We don't know the answer to that yet. And so it's one of those things where I'm preparing up here for either of those situations because, either or, like one or the other is inevitable probably. So it's like, either long, like, spending more time with, fixing her up and recovering her and stuff like that. So I'm gonna have to allocate time to that. That's an obstacle. That's gonna make things, a little bit harder. Or, the, hopefully not, alternative that could happen. And then having to, go through that mentally and emotionally and, all the stuff that goes along with that. Like everybody's had pets die and it's not fun. And obviously, hopefully that doesn't happen. But that's also an obstacle that, I am preparing to deal with in case it happens because and some people it's easier than others. Like for me personally, like I'm one of those people that's always like kind of like planning ahead. Like I'm kind of like minorly paranoid about that stuff, especially with being like a business owner. It's like I'm constantly just like if I'm not moving, if I'm not preparing, like I'm regressing. And so I do that with everything, especially with planning ahead. Like, for when I go someplace and like sit down in like a movie theater and I'm ready to like, watch a movie or something, like, you know, I'm paying attention. I'm like, okay, the exits are over there in case some crazy shit happens. Like, I'm just preparing for things like that. And I'm in that headspace, not to like, it used to be to where it was like almost like a detriment. And I was like I was like almost kind of paranoid, but like now it's like I'm using it to my advantage to like make sure that I'm ready for stuff in case it happens in order to allocate that time, to deal with that obstacle ahead of time. And so, for me, it's, my kid's not being in daycare. We've got a sick pet. For you, it might be you got a sick kid. You might have like car troubles, or you might, be working home remotely now, and it's kind of like a pain in the ass. It's kind of hard to like, figure out your workflow right now. Those are all obstacles that we have to deal with. But you can either choose two paths. You can either let the obstacle win and you stagnate and you stay at point A and you don't move forward, or you get to that wall and you just fucking stay there and you give up and you roll over on your belly and you quit. And a lot of people do that. A lot of people quit and they give up. But I encourage you to not do that and to, especially with your fitness journey, that could be, that could be a plateau. That could be like, I don't know what I'm doing right now. Like I've done all I can. I've gotten to this point. It's like, and I'm stuck here. My obstacle is a plateau. Like, what do I do? Well, you either have to learn something new, you have to change something up so that way you can work around it, or figure out how to work through it and get to the other side. And so, anyways, and so, basically what it kind of comes down to is just like, you can either choose the path where you give up and quit, or you can choose to work around it, work through it, or, like solve that problem and solve that obstacle. And so, doing that is so much better because not only do you get to your goal, but by getting through that obstacle, you're learning how to like get through that obstacle even better from the next time that something similar to that happens, and you're building that discipline, and you're building like all these like good habits and skills that make you a stronger person. And so that's why I would always encourage like I mean when it comes to obstacles and dealing with them, like don't roll over on your belly and like give up and quit, like because that's easy and that's why everybody does it, and that's why people at you know, a lot of times, like your average person, at the first sign of like adversity and difficulty and things like that, they're just like, oh, I quit. This is too hard. I don't want to do this. Like this is hard. This is tough. And like where true like growth and progress like happens is outside of that like comfort zone. Like that obstacle and that adversity that you have to work around is an obstacle that is outside, that is being outside of your comfort zone and working through it or around it and solving a problem to get to the other side. That's where growth occurs. That's where you see progress. That's where you like truly learn, you know, how to do this sort of stuff. And so, you know, that's, you know, kind of like my mentality on it. And that's what I encourage you guys to, you know, try to view it as the next time that you know, that shit hits the fan or things get tough, you know, work on building those like skills and that discipline and the wherewithal to, you know, fight through it and like and solve that problem or work around it and work through it. So because it's not gonna ever get easier. Like people like don't realize it, or like they they lie to themselves, or they have this like unrealistic expectation about life. Maybe it's because of movies or TV shows or something, but like, you know, where they think like, once I, you know, finish working for like 30 or 40 years, I'm going to retire. I'm going to be living the good life. Things are going to be perfect. No, they're not going to be perfect. It's not going to be the good life. Like it might be a good life, it might be, but there's going to be like everything that you do is going to have a like is going to come with its own set of like obstacles and problems that need to be solved, and it's a matter of being adaptive enough and like, you know, strong enough and disciplined enough to work through them, or you're not going to, kind of thing. It's like the same thing goes for like basically anything. It's like, you know, don't lie to yourself, don't trick yourself into thinking that like, you know, I just got to get to this point in my life and then I'm going to be good to go, because it's not going to be like that. That's not how life works. Life is chaotic, and like, you know, and you can either choose to view it as being scary or exciting, and I like to see it as being exciting because I want to freaking solve that problem and I want to become a better version of myself, and I don't want to sit at that wall and stagnate and quit and like, you know, and all that good stuff, you know. So that's my life for today. Hope this makes sense. Yeah, work through your obstacles. Don't let them get the best of you, and also don't expect that there's going to be like this like green pasture of grass at the end of the, you know, at the end of the tunnel on the other side of the field, because you need to like, instead of looking for like, you know, new grass to like go graze on, you should work on growing the grass that you're standing on right now instead of letting it, you know, turn all brown and shitty. So anyways, that's my life for today. Hope you got some value from this. If you're watching this at a later time, hit me with that hashtag replay. If you like what I'm saying, if you're feeling what I'm saying, if you know, agree with what I'm saying, throw a like my way. Let me know that you saw this. Let me know your number one takeaway in the video down below, or in the comments down below. But yeah, like I said, guys, hope you have a beautiful Monday. Hope you're working on your morning rituals. If you saw my post earlier today, and the importance of it, because, you know, that's a good way to set yourself up for success. You know, master your morning, master your day, master your week, master your month, master your, you know where I'm going with this. Talk to you guys later. See you later, Facebook.